So maybe you have seen my episodes of American Idol, and the number one question that I've been getting asked is, how is Lennon? She's doing amazing. I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about her genetic disorder very quickly. She has a genetic disorder called tuberous sclerosis. It causes tumor growths in the brain, the eyes, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys. It can cause lesions on the skin. And in Lennon's case, it caused seizures because of her brain tumor. The beginning of 2020, because of Lennon's transplant, we spent the first 4 months of the year, I lived in the hospital with her, and then ended up spending nearly half of the year total at the hospital. And then, we got home from the hospital and it was COVID, and she had just had a transplant. So it was like we were just stuck. We couldn't do anything. So I hadn't played music in a really long time. And the opportunity presented itself in front of me to audition for Idol. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I can do this. I can do this now. I have the time, I have the ability. And it just worked out so incredibly well. And it was one of those things where I got offered the audition. I'm so grateful to have gotten to play music on live TV, but also get to talk about something like, to talk about like organ donation and tuberous sclerosis. And then the one that I'm going to get choked up just thinking about it. There was a comment from a mom who posted a picture of her daughter in the hospital with her EEG cap on, and she was doing like a 72-hour EEG, and it's a picture of her daughter in the EEG cap watching My American Idol. I can relate so much to that position that she was in. And when Lennon first got diagnosed, same, I didn't know anybody existed. I never knew that this existed. And so to see that I could be of some comfort to other moms or other kids or people, going through this was just, oh my goodness, I cried for days about that comment. Tuberous sclerosis is very rare. It affects only 50,000 people in the United States. And if you want to learn more, please go to tsalliance.org. It is so important that people know what tuberous sclerosis is, and it will help to find improved treatments for TSC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shelley Meitzler, Director of Community Education and Resources at the TSC Alliance, and your MC for tonight. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carino, Clinic Director at the TSC Center of Excellence at the University of Maryland Medical Center and Chair of the TSC Alliance Board of Directors.
Thanks very much, Shelley. Good evening, everyone. So I want to extend a warm welcome to our volunteer appreciation celebration. The evening is really a celebration as we pay tribute to the outstanding work of our incredible volunteers and all their contributions to, in fact, the most successful year in the history of the TSC Alliance. It's really amazing. Last year, because of you, we were able to invest more in research and see incredible advances, rebrand as the TSC Alliance, launch a year-round awareness campaign, and expand the information and the way we provided support to the TSC community. One thing is clear, our volunteers are the lifeblood of the TSC Alliance, and you continue to work diligently around the year despite the challenges we faced in 2021. Last week, you pulled off another successful virtual march on Capitol Hill, and we know your meetings continue. In fact, your efforts to date resulted in more than 250 meetings with your congressional representatives and senators. We all know this was a monumental task in the current environment. On behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank you for never giving up and for providing hope, no matter how complex your journey. While we're waiting, I'll take a moment to thank this year's sponsor. There we go. The Volunteer Leadership Summit and Appreciation Celebration, and they are listed here on the slide. They include Jazz Pharmaceuticals, UCB Incorporated, Marinus, Mass Mutual Special Care Program, Norellis, and Noble Pharma. So before we get to the rest of the evening, I want to take a moment to celebrate the life of Clint Essling. Clint, as many of you may know, was the nephew of Vicki Whittemore, and he sadly passed away on February the 15th. Clint was the face of TSC for thousands of researchers for multiple decades. In fact, in a paper that I wrote in the New England Journal of Medicine, Clint's family kindly allowed photos of Clint when he was a young boy, a young teenager, and then in I think 18 at the time of the last photo, to show the progression of angiofibromas in tuberous sclerosis complex. Through his volunteering, he inspired a generation of scientists, and his impact in the field reverberates well beyond the friends and family who loved and cared for him directly. He was, in fact, the face of tuberous sclerosis for many healthcare professionals. As you all know so well, TSC impacts each person so differently. Volunteering is one way that individuals, caregivers, friends, and relatives can feel empowered to make a difference. To talk about the power of volunteering, the impact of TSC research, and the role of clinicians, it's now my pleasure to introduce my good friend, Dr. Derek Bauer. Dr. Bauer.
Wow, those are bright lights. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Kari and Shelley, for allowing me to speak for 3 minutes. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. At the beginning of the week, I thought this would be really easy, really simple, 3 minutes short speech, but sitting in the last couple of days, it's really been inspiring to see what the TSC Alliance has done over the last year. So, trying to distill what I've heard and experienced in the last 2 days into 3 minutes is daunting, even more so than what probably most of my experiences in residency and fellowship. So here goes. So in 2 words, I would want to express one, inspiration and gratitude for the sheer amount of research and funding that the TSC Alliance has brought forth this year, for all of you here. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here together, coming out of a pandemic, I think speaks to this group. And then secondly, gratitude. We've spoken so much about the sheer magnitude of the accomplishments this year, rebranding, record number of publications, record number of dollars generated for research. And yet, it's not enough. And the main comment I've heard for the last 2 days is, how can we do more? How can we continue to grow and make this a stronger organization still? So thank you, everyone who's here tonight, and let's keep it up.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer. I'm now going to welcome April Cooper, Vice President of Community Programs.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer and Shelley. Hello, everyone. I'm April Cooper, the Vice President of Community Programs. Tonight, we honor each of you and your accomplishments in 2021. The year proved to be one of our most challenging yet. Despite the ongoing tests we faced and continue to experience, the TSC community united and supported each other in unity, compassion, determination, which embodies our tenacious and resilient community. We couldn't have done it without every one of you, that's for sure. We will start by recognizing our outstanding community leadership. As we call your community leadership role, please stand up and stay standing. We have 47 community alliance chairs and vice chairs, 39 fundraising chairs and walk chairs. Please stand if you're one of those roles. We're not actually calling names. In 36 community alliances across the country. Within these communities, there are 12 adult regional coordinators, 31 education parent mentors, 33 dependent adult transition resource coordinators, 8 future leaders, 16 clinic ambassadors, supporting 19 clinics in our TSC community. Now we will recognize and thank our community alliances that celebrated milestone anniversaries in 2021. The TSC Alliance of Alaska and North Carolina both celebrated 5-year anniversaries. The TSC Alliance of Connecticut the TSC Alliance of Greater Kansas and the TSC Alliance of Tennessee all celebrated 15-year anniversaries. Thank you. It's a tremendous pleasure to introduce a very special volunteer, one who has truly impacted the way we advocate, raise research dollars, and help change the course of TSC for my girls and thousands more. Please welcome the father of the TSC Alliance's Government Relations Program and my father-in-law, Will Cooper.
My granddaughters got diagnosed with TSC 20 years ago. When we asked the pediatric neurologist, what could we do? She said, pray for a miracle. And I was devastated. I had to reach out for more input. So I got involved with TS Association in Washington, D.C. And I got to know some of the leadership in TS, and I suggested that I would make inroads with the U.S. Congress. Well, in my business, we frequently work with Congress, and because I knew a local congressman who headed up the Appropriations Subcommittee for Department of Defense, I reached out for him to help. So in doing that, I got an appointment, and his suggestions were, I want to provide a $1 million research program, Will, for TS research out of our Department of Defense medical efforts. And let's see how that starts out. Now you realize that we gotta keep this going year after year. And the only way to do that is I can't be the sole sponsor. I want you to go to your parents around the country and explain the fact that they have children with this disease, this rare disease. And in order for you to continue that research, you got to get those parents to go to their local congressman and get them to write letters to us in appropriations to maintain and continue the research on. 20 years later, we are on the brink of surpassing $100 million. And while I got it started, it's the community's activation over the past 20 years that has got us where we are today. I would have never thought that this effort was going to be so effective. It's a lot better than a miracle. Not only the entire TS community, but for my granddaughters. My hope for the future of TSC research is that we continue to work towards a cure while learning more about TSC and developing new treatments for those living with the disease along the way. I want to personally thank everyone who has contributed to our success, but we're not done. We need to continue the fight for more research funding so we can cure this disease. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. It's now time to move into part of the evening where we recognize our volunteer leaders who went above and beyond in 2021 with the Franny Awards. If you have been a part of this celebration before, you are familiar with the name Francine Ostro, the award's namesake. This hybrid platform gives us the opportunity to hear from those closest to the namesake. To share more about Fran, I would like to introduce her daughter, Liz Ostro Bucksbaum.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Ostro Bucksbaum, and it's my honor to explain the origin of the Franny Awards. My mom, Fran Ostro, was a force of nature. She was loving, caring, and an amazing cheerleader to my now 28-year-old son, Dan, who has tuberous sclerosis. When Dan was diagnosed at just under a year, my mom sprung into action. She gathered what little information there was, and we contacted the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance. Once we obtained the initial medical treatment Dan needed, my mom set out on her life's mission. She reached out to anyone who would listen to raise awareness and funds and to increase the emotional support for families impacted by tuberous sclerosis. She channeled her unconditional love for Dan into an unstoppable juggernaut. When she and I hosted our first tuberous sclerosis comedy event and auction, which paved the way for what later became Comedy for a Cure, she was not to be denied. We marched up and down New York City's elite Madison Avenue, asking the creme de la creme of luxury shops and restaurants for auction donations. Very few people had the audacity to turn us down, as my mom was more convincing than anyone on the planet. She was tenacious, supportive, and stopped at nothing to help the TS Alliance gain much needed funding for TSC research. She continued her volunteer work even in the face of debilitating cancer treatment until her health no longer permitted. My mom is missed dearly by all who knew her. When she passed away, the TS Alliance decided to honor her legacy by naming the Volunteer of the Year Awards the Franny Awards. The Franny Awards are given each year to those who embody the mission of the TS Alliance, volunteers who go above and beyond to serve their local TSC communities and contribute to the TS Alliance in a way only our dedicated volunteers can. The Franny Awards are a beautiful, moving tribute to my mom, who I know is somewhere out there cheering on all of you who picked up where she left off and who dedicate your lives to help the TS Alliance help all affected by tuberous sclerosis. A heartfelt thanks to all Franny Award recipients. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I am one lucky person that actually walked down Madison Avenue with Fran Ostro in the day. And I can tell you, nobody said no to Fran. She was pretty outstanding. And she once told me that I was too rigid. I needed to lighten up. She taught me a lot. So I'm Kari Rosbeck, President and CEO of the TSC Alliance. And as mentioned, the Franny Awards are given each year to individuals who embody the mission of the TSC Alliance. Volunteers who go way above and beyond to serve their local TSC communities and contribute to the TS Alliance in only the ways our volunteers can. To our honorees, when we announce your name, we invite you to come up and say a few words when you accept your award. Tonight, I have the privilege of actually presenting the very first award. This dedicated volunteer participated in the March on the Hill and the Step Forward to Cure TSC Walk in her area since its inception. She organized annual TSC Christmas parties at Scottish Rite Hospital in Dallas and serves as a clinic ambassador, helping TSC families get connected with resources and being a very familiar face in the TSC clinic. I first met this incredible volunteer and her son at the national, when we called it national, not world, National Family Conference in 2001. We worked together to start the TSC Alliance of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Her involvement in the TSC Alliance started way before my time. She first got involved in 1981 when she served as an area representative and worked closely with families in the area, hosting seminars and picnics, and of course, the still famous Christmas parties. And she's always available to support anyone who needs help, especially adults with TSC. I know personally she's advocated for an adult clinic in her area for decades. As long as I've known her, she's always the first to raise her hand to help, a shoulder to cry on, and a compassionate advocate for all those impacted by TSC. Please join me in applauding Tricia Bodner of Dallas, Texas, for her incredible contributions to the TSC Alliance and the TSC community.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank everybody for the special award. I have a son, Kevin, who was born in 1970, who was diagnosed in 1977. So when we moved here in 81 to Dallas, is when I started to get really involved with tuberous sclerosis and the Alliance. That is a long time ago. And I did just about anything and everything there was to do at that point. We were really just starting out and just grew amazingly to where we are now. Did a lot of fundraisers, sharing different things. And at this point now, I am the clinic ambassador here in Dallas. And this is the most wonderful, rewarding thing I think I have done in all of my activities for volunteering. It's just very rewarding. I get to meet all these families, sit down and talk with them. The fact that I have a son who has the same disease as their child does makes it much more easier for them and me to talk about things, whatever problems they might have coming up. So I just find that I've never not wanted to volunteer. And the Alliance itself is just such an amazing organization. I still can't believe how devoted and caring the staff and the board are. We have a really close community here, I think in Dallas. The pandemic certainly limited things, but my being able to see these families makes a huge, huge difference. I would never want anyone to feel alone like I did way back that many years ago. So I make every effort to be available whenever anybody wants to call me or talk to me. I just love doing what I do. And I know I'm looking forward to the conference. We haven't missed one. And I know that one of these days, with everybody's effort, we are going to find a cure. So I just thank you again.
Congratulations, Tricia. Now, please welcome Lauren Schillinger, who will announce our next honoree.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Lauren Schillinger, and I'm the Community Alliance Chair for the TSC Alliance of Maryland chapter. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there in person. I'm so disappointed because I miss everyone. But I wanted to go ahead and take the time, as it's my honor and my privilege to present the next Franny Award. This amazing sibling advocate, caregiver, and TSC Alliance volunteer is kind, caring, and compassionate. She dedicates her time and expertise to the Maryland TSC community in whatever ways are needed, including picking up the phone and reaching out to families one by one. Over the years, she has helped with fundraising, the Step Forward to Cure TSC walks, dating all the way back to when they were held in Annapolis and Silver Spring, Maryland. She participates on adult topic calls, advocates on both the state and federal level, and is always eager to assist in any way that is needed. This past year, she transitioned from serving as the clinic ambassador at the Kennedy Krieger Institute to being the clinic ambassador at the TSC Center of Excellence at the University of Maryland Medical Center. She creates and sends out a personalized TSC newsletter each month, which is filled with resources and events in the local Maryland community. One of the really special things that she does every month is to reach out with personalized phone calls to families, trying to connect them with whatever resources or things they may need. She brings so much knowledge to our community, especially for those living with an adult with TSC. Our Maryland community is so grateful for all of her support, and we're honestly lucky to have her living in Maryland. Please help me in recognizing Jocelyn Senna on the Franny Award this year. Thank you. Congratulations, Joss.
You know, it's astounding. I've really enjoyed supporting everyone. I love to talk to patients and families, and I think it's a really great honor to be part of this group because everyone is so wonderful. And it's been a number of years. I think it was 1996 or so when I first heard tuberous sclerosis complex. I was working in Washington, D.C. I'm like, boy, I think that's what my brother has. I ran over to the conference, picked up papers, and I just got involved from then in the walks every year and more. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Jocelyn. Now I'd like to introduce Cheryl Kubala, who will announce our next honoree.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cheryl Kubala. I'm from Austin, Texas. And, when Jack was diagnosed, we all know that gut punch of hearing what tuberous sclerosis is and that there is no cure. And at the time, our closest clinic was in Dallas, which is about a 5-hour drive from us. And so, of course, that's where we went. Well, we had yet to know the family that we were about to be invited into. And the clinic hosted a camp every year. And so we went to camp and we're like, okay, I guess these are our people now. And one of the families that was there and has been there the whole time and every year, they provide amazing resources for other families. They told us what lists to get on. They introduced us to other people in the area, helped us understand the process and doctors and all of the things. The nominee also is an amazing advocate and fundraiser. And the way he rallies his family together, they are loud and they are so much fun to be around. And my son, Jack, would personally rather be a part of his family than my own, and is a little disappointed that he can't go home with them because they have so many boys and he only has sisters. But it is my honor to introduce our next Volunteer of the Year award to Noor Pajawani.
Hi, everyone. I'm Noor.
I'm Zara.
And this is our son, Aman. And can you say hi?
Hi.
We just wanted to thank the TS Alliance for nominating us and for giving us this award for Volunteer of the Year. We are very honored and humbled and excited and proud, I guess. I'm sorry that we couldn't join you guys in person. My wife and I, we've been doing this for 15 plus years. This guy's the reason why we do everything every year. We honestly, my wife probably puts in a lot more work in the background than I do. So she's probably more deserving of this award than I am. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
That's not true, but go ahead.
You want to tell them a little bit about our family? And
well, doing the walk has made us very close with our other family members. They have been the biggest support system that we have, and they are the one who help us get all the funds and gifts and all the things that we need for the walk.
So every year, I've got cousins in Atlanta and Chicago, and every year these guys, they come down on a Thursday. We rent a truck, we go pick up all the items that we need for the walk on Saturday. We pick it up on Friday. These guys help me from barbecuing at the walk to setting up the walk to setting up the tables. I mean, they're there the whole day. And then on Sunday they leave. And this has sort of become an annual ritual for us. We look forward to it. It's almost become like a reunion type where I've got 30 people camped out of my house the weekend of the walk every year. They love doing it. We love doing it. It's really brought all of us very close, this particular cause. And we're all very proud. And, you know, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for our extended families. They are probably the true reason why we do what we do and how we're able to do it. So.
And we know it's very important raising funds for TSC research because we have benefit. It has helped us directly with Afinitor, and that's just close to our heart because Aman's been on this medication for a long time, and without the research and the funding, it wouldn't have happened. So Again, I want to say thank you to TSC Alliance for helping us get this research done. So right now, Aman is on Afinitor and Aman's tumor is not growing. And that is the biggest reason why we do this.
Well, we're very
Again,
thankful
thank you.
and excited and proud to receive this award. And this guy's the reason right here why we do it. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Say thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Noor and family. Now I'd like to introduce Heather Lenz, who will announce our next honoree.
Okay, our next volunteer has given selflessly of his time, literally flying across the country to support TSC Alliance events from California to New York, Minneapolis, and DC. He appeared in the 40th anniversary play, emceed the 45th anniversary gala, and helped raise awareness through an IMTSC public service announcement. He founded and continues to serve as the chair of the Comedian Committee for Comedy for a Cure, an event he has championed for the past decade and even during the pandemic. He has hosted TSC community members when appearing in a play in Kansas City and always has a hug and a smile for everyone impacted by TSC. He cares so much about brightening our days with personalized happy birthday messages on social media. He does this a lot to a lot of you, so I'm sure you've seen this. Let me see here. Where'd I go? While in New York in 2019, he also met with several families to offer his support and spend time together. I got to be one of those families, and it was so cool. That's just who he is. He's a great person, a genuine, caring, compassionate champion. Join me in congratulating Jim O'Hare as the next award.
Hey, everybody, can you hear me? Wait, you can't hear me or no? Okay, I can't hear you guys, so I'm just going to assume you can. First of all, I just want to thank you for this honor. When Kari called me, she said, "Oh, I have some good news. Let's we set up a phone thing." And at the time, we were in the middle of figuring out Comedy for a Cure for 2022, so I just assumed it had something to do with that, and maybe some big news about that. But that, and I was obviously very surprised. I looked up things you are supposed to say during an acceptance speech, and it says never say, "Oh, I'm not deserving." I mean, I kind of feel that way, but I'm not allowed to say it, so I'm not going to say that. But I am grateful, and the fact that it is the Volunteer of the Year award. There is a this is so random, but there's an episode of The Golden Girls where they're all up for the Volunteer of the Year award, and it's a big battle who's going to get it. So I like that many of us are getting this. I like that because so many people work so hard for this organization. Heather Lenz, who I love, she knows that, sent me a text yesterday with a picture with her with a couple of the other moms, a bunch of the other moms, having what appeared to be a cocktail or two, as they do, because they work hard and they play hard. And I love them all so much. And Kari and April are, my gosh, are stalwarts who just, boy, they keep it all running, at least for me. This Comedy for a Committee, the committee we do for Comedy for a Cure, we're all actory kind of entertainment people, so we're nuts. We don't know what's going on half the time. So thankfully they are there to guide us and keep us in check. I have considered it an honor and a gift to have gotten to be involved with this organization that I didn't know about until I knew about it. I didn't know it existed. And once I did, and I saw the videos and I met the families, it became important real fast. So it's an honor to get to be a very small part of what you guys do. Kari knows, call me when she needs something, because if I'm in town. I was hoping to be there for this event live. We tried to make that happen, but with work, it just couldn't happen. But I am there for you guys always, and so grateful for this award. And of course, I always have to, most of you know who I'm talking about, but I always think of Dee Treamer when I think of the organization, and because she was one of the big parts of this when I started also. And of course, I miss her like I think we all do. But thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this organization. I'm grateful for the people I've met. I am grateful for the eye-opening experience. I've had a pretty blessed life. I don't have any immediate family members with any disease like this who have had to deal with this and battle this. And it's the whole experience has been humbling, and I am grateful. And even though I'm not supposed to say it, according to the internet, I am not worthy, but I thank all of you very, very much for including me. And I am always there for you.
Congratulations, Jim, and thanks again to all of our Franny Award recipients for your commitment to the TSC community and the TSC Alliance. More than a decade ago, the TSC Alliance launched an initiative with a specific goal to make every adult with TSC feel welcomed and valued in the TSC community. The late Keith Hall led this initiative, which has grown to incorporate various leadership positions with individuals dedicated to supporting other adults with TSC, as well as dependent adults and their caregivers. Keith was an inspiring individual and an amazing leader in our organization who always made you feel like the most important person in the room. He gave selflessly of his time to serve on the TSC Alliance Board of Directors, the Adult Task Force, and as a spokesperson for our adult outreach efforts. He took his passion and advocacy for all individuals and families affected by TSC and channeled it into his local TSC community through Step Forward to Cure TSC walks, community gatherings and educational meetings, and marching on Capitol Hill. We are all so grateful to have known and worked alongside of Keith. To formally honor Keith's legacy, the TSC Alliance created the Keith Hall Distinguished Leadership Award. The annual recipient of this award will be an adult with TSC whose efforts mirror those of Keith's. To present this award, we will now hear from Keith's family, Andrea, Brandon, and Marissa.
Good evening. It's our pleasure to participate tonight in order to present the Keith Hall Distinguished Leadership Award in honor of Keith. I recognize that there are always new people in attendance, so I want to mention how much it meant to Keith to connect with others in the TSC community. Well into adulthood, Keith knew only a handful of people who were affected by TSC, either affected themselves or as caregivers, until he went to a national TSC conference. That's not a plug for Dallas, but if you get the chance to get to Dallas, I would highly recommend it. That experience changed his outlook. Knowing that he could make a difference inspired him to dive in and get even more involved on the national level than he had previously been on the local level. Like previous recipients of this award, Keith was genuine and passionate in his efforts to include adults and all people with TSC to improve their lives and their caregivers.
This year's recipient, like previous recipients, is no different in his passion to be involved and make a difference. As the nomination states, this year's recipient selflessly gives his time to the TSC Alliance and his community, participating in so many ways throughout the years. He is a faithful volunteer, always willing and eager to help, who continues to embody the qualities that this award represents. Whether it's recruiting and participating in the Step Forward to Cure TSC events, participating in calls for the March on the Hill, hosting dine-outs, participating in the Maryland Day of Advocacy and Awareness, advocating for the new Center of Excellence at the University of Maryland, or being a clinic ambassador. Both he and his sister are rock stars representing the adults population of TSC.
When he shares his story, he not only realistically includes the struggles through the years, but he also gives hope and inspiration about living well into other adulthood with TSC.
Frank Senna, you're an inspiration to all of us. Congratulations on receiving the Keith Hall Distinguished Leadership Award. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so well deserved.
Well, everyone that I'm just lost for words. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You have totally blasted me out to space. I never expected this. Thank you. Thank you all.
Congratulations, Frank. Our final award is the Dreamer Award, which honors our dear friend and colleague, Dee Treamer. Some of you may not have had the chance to know Dee, but she was simply magnificent. She gave of her time, her heart, and her soul, both as a volunteer and then later on as a staff member, to help build our Community Alliance program, then our special events. As a TSC mom, she touched the heart of everyone she met, even if they talked to her just once. We think of her always, and we remember her again daily as we strive to continue her legacy of providing hope and support to all those affected by TSC. While we didn't receive any Dreamer nominations, we extend our gratitude to all of the community alliances for providing hope and support during these virtual times, including awareness campaigns, kids' dance parties, and open forum support to check in with each other. We look forward to more of these in 2022 as we transition back to in-person events. For the closing part of our evening, I'd now like to turn it over to our CEO and hero, Kari Rosbeck.
So the one thing that I admire most about Shelley is she does all of that with a straight face. And I cannot see Dee's picture without wanting to burst into tears. We miss her so much. So I just need a moment. I think you heard it from Jim O'Hare that everybody Dee met, she touched. And we do all miss her every day. Whew. Okay, so I just want to say it's an honor to work with and behalf of all of you over these past 20 years. In this time, and because of all of you and individuals like our Dee, we've witnessed unprecedented advances. The approval of the first drugs to treat TSC, the $97 million in appropriations to the TSC research program at the Department of Defense, the expansion of TSC clinics and centers of excellence to 67 locations across the US and 10 internationally, and an army of volunteers offering peer support, educational advocacy, and assistance in the transition from childhood to adulthood. Because of you, we have more programs and services for adults living with TSC, including our amazing future leaders. As Dr. Carino mentioned earlier, we're so fortunate to have such a committed group of volunteers and community at large. Everything the TSC Alliance, such a habit. TSC Alliance does is rooted in making sure we serve and provide the tools, the support, the information, and the research that all of you need to make sure anyone affected by TSC is able to live his or her fullest life. And to bring this message home, we have one last testimonial this evening from Dr. Mustafa Sahin, co-chair of our Science and Medical Committee, member of our TS Alliance Board of Directors, chair of the International Scientific Advisory Board, and clinic director of the Center of Excellence at Boston Children's Hospital. And I'm going to get a Kleenex.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mustafa Sahin. I'm a child neurologist at Boston Children's Hospital, and I run the tuberous sclerosis program here. I'm also co-chairing the Science and Medical Committee on the board of TSC Alliance, together with Angela Gibson. And I just wanted to reflect on the past year from my role as a board member and also a researcher in tuberous sclerosis. This has been one of the best years in terms of both raising funds and investing in funds for TSC-related research. And I wanted to highlight at the preclinical and clinical research levels, as well as the impact of this research going into the clinics, and how, as a board member, we've been working towards improving each of these stages for all those affected with tuberous sclerosis. First, let me start with the preclinical stage. TSC Alliance has formed a preclinical consortium, and there are several companies who've invested in testing their compounds as a part of this preclinical consortium. This has gathered so much interest that there are several compounds going through this testing as we speak. And some of those compounds are starting to go into clinical trials. So this is a huge milestone from the perspective of evolution of preclinical studies to the clinical trials. In addition to what has been done so far, TSC Alliance is importing 2 other mouse lines into the preclinical consortium, such that there can be more testing done for tuberous sclerosis associated neuropsychiatric disorders, or TAN, as well as potential therapies using gene transfer or what's called gene therapy in tuberous sclerosis in the future. So these are new avenues that we have not been able to test in the past. In terms of clinical trials, it's also been an amazing year. PREVENT study led by Martina Bebin has finished enrolling patients, and we should find out results in about a year or so, whether early intervention with vigabatrin could improve epilepsy and developmental outcome in infants with tuberous sclerosis. And TSC STEPS, led by Darcy Kruger, is starting to enroll patients, and then looking at the effect of mTOR inhibitors, in this case, sirolimus, on similar outcome measures. So both of these studies could really change the future of babies born with tuberous sclerosis. And finally, as a Science and Medical Committee member, I'm particularly proud of the work that's being done by the Clinics Committee, trying to standardize implementation of recommendations from the Consensus Conference in terms of various aspects of diagnostics and maintenance of care for individuals affected with TSC. I think this is going to have important implications for providing more access, better care for all those individuals and families affected with tuberous sclerosis. So taken together, 2021 has been an incredible year, and this couldn't have been possible without the remarkable fundraising made possible by the TSC Alliance and the donors. And I want to thank everyone for making this year a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sahin. Okay, now I got it together, so that's a good thing. So I want to offer my deepest gratitude to our operating and endowment fund board, along with our corporate advisory board, and all those who serve as community volunteers on our board committees. Your gifts of time, talent, and treasure allowed the TSC Alliance to reach a whole new level in 2021. And as we begin 2022, your ongoing leadership will continue to light the way. So could I have all of our board, endowment fund board, corporate advisory board members, and any community person that serves on a board committee to please stand and be acknowledged? Thank you all so much. I also want to personally congratulate our Franny awardees, Trisha Bodner, Jocelyn Senna, Noor Panjwani, and the amazing Jim O'Hare, and our Keith Hall Distinguished Leadership Awardee, Frank Senna. You are all so deserving, and I'm so proud of you. In the last few minutes, I want to take time to thank our incredible and awesome staff team. Throughout the past year, this team delivered. They were relentless in their dedication to the mission of the TSC Alliance and their hopes for the TSC community. They went way above and beyond this past year as we transitioned from the TS Alliance to the TSC Alliance and fully embraced our new and innovative ways to drive research, deliver quality information and resources, pursue collaborations to elevate awareness, and advocate for and with the TSC community. And I'd like to invite the staff, when I call them, to come line up here so everybody can see you in here and out, those that are watching. So Dean Agar, Director of Preclinical Research. Cynthia R. Curry, our incoming new Chief Financial Officer. Landon Cox, our Development Coordinator. April Cooper, Vice President of Community Programs. Zoe Fuchs, our Science Project Coordinator. So I got to get this one right. Rich Gollum, our current Chief Financial Officer, who celebrates 7 years at the TSC Alliance tomorrow and will be retiring on April 15th. Emma Bette G. Michael, who we had a board meeting earlier and I didn't say enough about Emma Bette. She has been the glue throughout the pandemic. She's the person that went into the office, who opened all of the checks when everything was in quarantine, who's completely dedicated to the mission of the organization. So please join me in thanking Emma Bette. Jay Isham, who celebrates 18 years with the TSC Alliance. April 20th, Senior Vice President of Strategic Communications. Dan Klein, our Director of Digital Platforms, who just celebrated a decade on February 13th. And as I often say to him, why would you ever start a job the day before Valentine's Day? Justin Martucci, who just returned from paternity leave. And literally when he walked in the door, I fell to my knees. I was so happy to see him. He is our development systems manager and is truly the glue in our development department. Best hair ever, yes. Shelley Meitzler, our Director of Community Education and Resources. Lisa Moss, our Vice President, Donor Relations, who will be celebrating 10 years at the TSC Alliance on July 30th at the World Conference. So you know we're going to embarrass her there. That's right. Joanne Nakagawa, who celebrates 17 years on August 22nd, our Director of Clinical Projects and TSC Clinic Liaison. Ashley Pounders, our Director of Medical Affairs, Director of Medical Affairs. Steve Roberts, who celebrates 11 years on June 27th, our Chief Scientific Officer. Gabrielle Rushing, our Associate Director of Research. Gail Saunders, the woman of many hats. Oh yeah. 17 years on November 7th, our Senior Associate Director of Community Programs. That's right. Just throw a bunch of bananas in her path and she'll be happy. See, she hates bananas. All right, Katie Smith, who celebrates 16 years with the organization on July 31st, our Director of Government and Global Affairs. And Ann Wolf, our new Senior Community Programs Manager. All right, we're very excited to introduce two new staff members tonight. The first is Ryan Beebe, our new Manager of Annual Giving and Partnerships. And Rachel Wojnalower. Did I do it right, Rachel? Yes. All right. Our new executive assistant. Excellent. This is your team that works on behalf of you every single day. And I can tell you, they don't give 100%. They didn't give 200%. They give about 500% every single day. All right, and to the woman, you guys stay up here just for a second. To the woman who was standing on the chair, a very special thank you to Mary Roberts. Once again, volunteering her time to make this week extra special. And to everybody out there, here and out there in TV land, thank you for joining us tonight. It was a spectacular evening, and the team looks forward to seeing you all in Dallas, right? At the 2022 World TSC Conference. We're gonna play an extra special video as we close out, but I think what we'd like to do once that finishes is get a picture of everybody that's here together, and we can space out appropriately. But let's close out. So we're gonna close out the festivities as we dedicate the next year and the urgency. You heard a lot about research, but the urgency of our research and mission to those TSC warriors who lost their battle this past year, including Camilla Uribe Orive, a TSC mom and founding member of our Spanish task force. After our remembrance, please enjoy our closing music by our amazing future leader, Emily Fan. Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank you for this evening, and I'm so thankful to be in such a wonderful community. And I wanted to give my heart to everyone out there with TSC or families with TSC. My music, this is like my heart trying to share as much as I can. And I'm going to be playing the Andante Spianato Grand Polonaise by Chopin.
Emily, stand up. Good night, everybody. Let's get that picture.